You know, I got 98% of what I wanted. I'm pretty happy.
When and where is the U.S. starting to feel these cuts?
Hi, Francine. Well, you know, the sequester has actually been compared to a slow-motion train wreck. The idea that we are still bracing for worse to come, knowing full well it could get ugly if we do get the full impact. So it's not quite lights out at any federal agencies. But that said, we are beginning to see initial consequences coming through. So, for example, the Department of Homeland Security, they've already started reducing overtime hours. This means already at airports and ports, we've seen backlogs coming through. If the sequester holds through April 1st, they will start to put federal workers on furlough. That means we could have even fewer staff at border crossings, at ports, and at airports. So that could get a little bit ugly. Speaking at his first cabinet meeting of his second term yesterday, President Obama said, though, the government is doing everything they can to manage this.
We are going to manage it as best we can to try to minimize the impacts on American families, but it's not the right way for us to go about deficit reduction. It makes sense for us to take a balanced approach that takes a long view and doesn't reduce our commitment to things like education and basic research that will help us grow over the long term.
So, Fran, Obama is saying the government wants to mitigate the long-term impact, but in the short term, travelers to the United States could be in for a nasty surprise. The Department of Homeland Security says already just yesterday, more than 70 flights coming into JFK saw wait times of more than 2 hours trying to go through customs. Meanwhile, workers at the Long Beach port out in California, that's the second busiest port in the country, they've already started going on to coming to work later, leaving earlier, so that could build up a big bottleneck. The head of the Department of Homeland Security, Janet Napolitano, said at a conference yesterday, please don't yell at the customs officers or the TSA officers. They are not responsible for the sequester. Fran?
And Olivia, this is just the beginning. How likely is it that the sequester lasts, and will we see the full consequences actually play out?
Well, Fran, the latest bill from Congress actually doesn't see much change to the cuts. The bulk of the cuts is set to stay. Essentially, what Congress is working on now is sort of a stopgap solution that would actually put off a shutdown of the government, the deadline there for March 27th. So it is likely, analysts say, that we will see some sort of stopgap funding resolution come through. The big question is if there will be any bigger changes to the cuts. The goal is still to take about $85 billion off of federal spending, or about 2.5% of the budget.